So before we know it, the NFL season will be back underway, and there'll be some of you that will be wanting to get into the NFL but not quite sure what team to support. So as part of a brand new mini-series on my channel, I'm going to tell you which NFL team you should support based on the football team that you support. And the first team we are covering is Manchester United, and which NFL team you should support if you are a Man U fan. And that team is the New England Patriots, by far the easiest team to compare. It's pretty simple. Both teams had a lot of success, but both teams have struggled for many years now. Both teams had great coaches in Bill Belichick and Alex Ferguson. Both teams had a lot of success for a lot of years. But now they're both mediocre, and that is why if you are a Man U fan, you should also support the New England Patriots. Telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 2. And this time it's a turn of Arsenal. Now, if you are an Arsenal fan, the NFL team you should support is the Dallas Cowboys. First of all, it's the fan bases. Both of them seem to annoy the rest of the fan bases across their respective leagues. Second of all, they are both teams that had a lot of success but have both struggled in recent times but come really close. Every year, both the Cowboys fans and the Arsenal fans believe it's their year to finally win their trophy once again, whether it's the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl or Arsenal winning the Premier League. But what's happened in the last 20 years? Both teams have not won a single big trophy. Whilst the Cowboys may have won a few playoff games and Arsenal may have won a few FA Cups, they're both still searching for that elusive Super Bowl and Premier League they've not won in so long. The one thing you can guarantee is that Arsenal and the Cowboys will always be there and thereabouts competing, but maybe not quite making it to the top. But let me know in the comments which team I should do next. Episode 3 of my new mini-series where I tell new NFL fans in the UK what team they should support based on the football team that they support. And the next team is Brighton and Hove Albion. If you are a Brighton fan, you should support the Jacksonville Jaguars. First of all, both Brighton and Jacksonville have beaches. And secondly, both these teams have been pretty middle of the road, middle tier in the last few years. Brighton in the last few years have finished 16th, they finished 9th, they finished 6th and 11th, most recently 11th this season. And the Jags have had 8-win seasons, 9-win seasons, maybe even 11-win season. Brighton had their European run this year. The Jags have had 3 appearances in the AFC Championship game. That's really as far as it's got for either team. Neither team is really posing any threat towards, for Brighton's case, challenging for a Premier League or Champions League position. And Jacksonville, I'm seeing at the moment anyway, as being a contender for the Super Bowl. And if you live in Brighton, it doesn't take too long to get to London, where the Jags play every year. Let me know in the comments which team I should do next. Man City may have just lost the FA Cup final, but here is what NFL team you should support if you are a Man City fan. And that team is the Kansas City Chiefs. First reason's pretty obvious, both teams are reigning champions in their respective leagues. The Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and Man City have just completed last weekend their 4-peat, winning 4 straight Premier League titles. Both teams have great coaches. The Chiefs have Andy Reid, Man City have Pep Guardiola. The Chiefs have Mahomes, City have Kevin De Bruyne. Both teams had a lot of years of mediocrity. It took the Chiefs 50 years to win a Super Bowl once again, and Man City had years and years as a mediocre Premier League team and sometimes in the 2nd and 3rd division. That is episode 3 of my mini-series where I tell you what NFL team you should support based on your football team. Let me know in the comments which team I should do next. So I've just watched Leeds lose in the EFL Championship playoff final to Southampton. Here is what NFL team you should support if you are a Leeds fan. And it should come to no surprise that that team is the San Francisco 49ers. First of all, both teams have the same owners. Also, both teams' last titles came at very similar times. Leeds last won a league title in England's top flight back in the 1990-1991 season, and the 49ers last won a Super Bowl in the 1989 NFL season. Also, both teams have terrible recent records when it comes to the playoffs. But there are a lot of connections when it comes to these two teams on both sides of the ponds, and that is why, if you are a Leeds fan, also support the 49ers. Episode 6 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on the football team that you support. And this time it's the turn of Cardiff City. If you are a fan of Cardiff City, the NFL team you should support is Tennessee Titans. First of all, both cities of Cardiff and Nashville are well known to have great bar life and great nightlife scenes. Whether you're in Cardiff on game day or whether you're in Nashville on a Saturday night, either way, you're certainly not stuck for choice when it comes to going for places to have a drink. Also, both teams do play in blue, albeit different shades, and both teams have not been short of controversies surrounding their fan bases. Cardiff owner Vincent Tan made the decision to change their kit from their traditional blue to red, and the Tennessee Titans were once the Houston Oilers and moved the team from Houston all the way to Nashville. Also, both teams have come close but not quite won the big one, whether it's Cardiff losing the FA Cup final in 2008 or the Titans losing the Super Bowl to the Rams in the the 1999 season. But that is my next episode done. Let me know in the comments which team I should take on next. Episode 7 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And that team is Fulham. So if you are a Fulham fan, watch this video. The NFL team you should support is the Los Angeles Chargers. First of all, both these teams do play in white and both play in areas which are very desirable to either travel to or live in London and Los Angeles. Both teams play in well thought of stadiums, but neither stadium generates much of an atmosphere, and neither team has won a trophy. The Chargers have played in one Super Bowl and Fulham have played in both one FA Cup final and one Europa League final, but all three of these occasions these teams failed to win. So Fulham fans, if you are watching this video, if you want a team to root for that is the underdog, that hasn't won anything, and you can't be accused of being a glory hunter, then the Los Angeles Chargers are the team for you. And also their jerseys are very good. Telling you what NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 8. And apologies for the lack of content these last few days. I was trying to do it one a day, but I've been very ill the last few days and I'm still feeling a bit under the weather now, but the content at some point has to carry on. And today's team is Tottenham Hotspur. If you are a Spurs fan, the NFL team you should support is the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, both teams have had some good players in the past. Spurs have had Harry Kane, Jurgen Klinsmann, Gareth Bale. The Vikings have had Adrian Peterson, Justin Jefferson, Brett Favre, but neither team has any silverware to show for that. Now I get it. Spurs have won trophies in the past. They got, I believe, the third most FA Cups in English football history. But, of course, for most people watching this video, we've seen Spurs win one League Cup the last 25 years. And the Vikings have reached Super Bowls in the past, 4 in total, but they have lost every single one. Both teams are seen by other fan bases as being perennial losers. So Spurs fans, if you are watching, if you want a team to support in the NFL that has equal thirst to override a long history of lack of trophies, then the Vikings are for you. And also they are playing in your stadium in just a few months' time in October. Telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 9. And the next team is Everton. Now, if you're an Everton fan, the NFL team you should support is the Chicago Bears. First of all, both teams do play in blue, albeit different shades. Also, both teams won trophies in the same year. Everton won back-to-back English First Division titles, which is now known as the Premier League, across the 85-86 season and the 86-87 season, and the Bears won a Super Bowl in the 1985 season. However, since then, it's been a lack of success from either team. Both teams have come close since. The Bears did lose the Super Bowl to the Colts in the mid-2000s, and Everton did lose the 2009 FA Cup final, and both teams set records in these losses. Bears did have, for the first time in Super Bowl history, the opening kick of the game returned for a touchdown through Devin Hester, and until Gundogan scored in 13 seconds against Man U last year, Lewis Zaha did have the record for the quickest goal in the FA Cup final when he scored against Chelsea for Everton in that 2009 FA Cup final. But that is as good as it's got for both these teams, and both teams have been, in recent times, completely overshadowed by rivals. Since 2010, Everton have only won 3 times against Liverpool, and the Bears have also only won 3 times since 2010 against the Packers. Telling you what NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 10. This time, it's the turn of Aston Villa. If you are a Villa fan, the NFL team you should support is the Detroit Lions. First of all, both these teams had success in years gone by. The Lions won 3 NFL championships in the 1950s, and Aston Villa won the European Cup in 1982. However, since then, both teams experienced a lot of lows. The Lions went 0-16 in 2008, and Aston Villa were relegated from the Premier League to the Championship in 2016. However, both teams are now on the up. Aston Villa reached Champions League this season, finishing 4th place and reaching the competition for the first time in 41 years. And the Lions won their first playoff game in over 30 years and even made the NFC Championship game this season and were basically 1 quarter away from reaching the Super Bowl. Also, both Birmingham and Detroit are hard-working cities with negative reputations. So Villa fans, if you want an NFL team to support, a fellow team that is back on the rise after a lot of years of despair, this is the team for you. Although, just a warning for you, you may be called a glory hunter. Telling you what NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 11. This time, it's the turn of Nottingham Forest. And if you are a Forest fan, the NFL team you should support is the Miami Dolphins. This is, of course, my NFL team, and like my NFL team, the Dolphins, the Forest had a lot of years of despair after initially a lot of success. So Forest won back-to-back European Cups, and the Dolphins won back-to-back Super Bowls. However, there's been a lot of mediocreness since. Forest spent a lot of years in the second division of English football, and Dolphins had a lot of years of losing seasons. However, both teams are now on the rise. 2 years ago, it was a great time to be a fan of both teams. Forest returned to the Premier League after more than 2 decades away, and the Dolphins returned to the playoffs after 6 seasons away. Neither team has won any major trophies since they've returned to these spots, but at the same time, both these teams are just glad to be back where they belong. So Forest fans, this is the NFL team for you. Let me know in the comments which team I should do next. Telling you what NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 12. And today's team is Bristol City. If you are a Bristol City fan and you want an NFL team to support, that team should be the Arizona Cardinals. First of all, both badges feature a bird. Both teams play in red. Bristol is widely seen as the biggest city to never have a Premier League team. Arizona is seen as a massive US tourist destination, but the Cardinals have only made 1 Super Bowl, which they lost. Both teams have built new stadiums very recently. So if you are a Bristol City fan and you want an NFL team to support, then the Arizona Cardinals should be the team for you. That is this episode done, probably our shortest so far. Let me know in the comments what team I should do next. Telling you what NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 13. And this time, it's a turn of Derby County. If you are a Derby County fan, the NFL team you should support is the Washington Commanders. Both these teams have a fair few things in common. They both used to win. Washington, back then known as the Redskins, won Super Bowls in 1982, 1987 and 1991. And Derby were First Division champions in 1972 and 1975. However, since then, both teams have struggled massively to hit those heights once again. Derby have the worst points total in any Premier League season in history and spent time as recently as this season in the 3rd tier of English football, and there's been years and years of a lack of success with Washington and a lot of turmoil off the field, a bit like Derby, and they've had a lot of high draft picks due to a lot of losing seasons. However, both teams now have hope. This season, Derby earned promotion back to the Championship, and the Commanders have new hope with new owners and a brand new quarterback in 2nd overall pick, Jayden Daniels. So Derby County fans, the Commanders are the team for you. And before you ask, I'm not going to compare Derby to the Rams just because of the nickname. I've got a very good comparison in line for the Rams coming up in the next few days. Telling you what NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 14. And this time, it's a turn of Burnley. If you are a Burnley fan, the NFL team you should support is the Carolina Panthers. First of all, both teams are fairly new to their respective leagues. The Panthers only became a franchise in 1995, and Burnley only became a Premier League team in 2009. However, both teams have appeared to take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. This is despite both teams making great strides in the 2010s. Burnley were Premier League regulars under manager Sean Dyche, and the Panthers are regular playoff contenders with quarterback Cam Newton. Burnley had a season in the Europa League in 2018-19, and the Panthers made the Super Bowl in the 2015 season. But now, both teams are at crossroads. Burnley have now been relegated 2 of the last 3 seasons from the Premier League. Their manager Vincent Kompany has gone, and there's uncertainty over their style of play going forward. Panthers seemingly drafted the wrong quarterback with how well CJ Stroud did in his rookie year, and no one really knows if Bryce Young will turn good. There's a new coach in Carolina with Dave Canales. There's a new manager coming for Burnley, whoever that's going to be. And finally, there's one thing you can guarantee from both Burnley and the Panthers in their respective upcoming seasons, is that they can't get any worse than the season just gone. Telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 15. And this episode is all about Wolverhampton Wanderers. If you are a Wolves fan watching this video, the NFL team you should support is Houston Texans. First of all, like your football team, the Texans surprised everyone with a really good season in the season just gone. A lot of people had Wolves as relegation candidates, but they were never anywhere close to being relegation candidates this season, and no one for any minute thought Texans would make the playoffs and do so as division winners and even win a playoff game. Also, both teams can share similar disappointments in the 2010s. Wolves had arguably one of their best decades in the club's history in the 2010s and almost made the FA Cup final in the 2018-19 season, going 2-0 up in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley against Watford, but blew that lead and ultimately lost out of making a place in the final. And the Texans were over 20 points clear of the Chiefs in the divisional round in the 2019 NFL season, but we all know what happened with that one. Wolves fans, the Texans are the team for you. Episode 16 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's a turn of Chelsea. If you are a Chelsea fan, the NFL team you should support is the Los Angeles Rams. First of all, both these teams play in pretty much the exact same shade of blue. Chelsea have won 2 Champions Leagues and the Rams have won 2 Super Bowls, but both teams are accused by many of buying these trophies. Both London and LA are very desirable places to live and travel in their respective countries. Chelsea are one of the richest clubs in the world, and the Rams have arguably the most expensive stadium in NFL history. Both teams have had great players over the years. Back in the day, the Rams had Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner, Eric Dickerson. Chelsea had Drogba, Terry and Lampard. These days, Chelsea have Cole Palmer and the Rams have Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Overall, these are 2 teams that are always going to be there and thereabouts most years, if you exclude Chelsea's last 2 years with Todd Bowley. Telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team, episode 17. And this time, it's a turn of Sheffield United. If you are a Sheffield United fan, the NFL team you should support is Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm really sorry for this one. This is one of my more lazy ones. They're both known for steel, Pittsburgh and Sheffield. I struggled for teams for Pittsburgh Steelers, if I'm honest, that weren't already taken. And I just thought both teams have steel. Both have loud fan bases, but yeah, this is one of my more lazier comparisons. Episode 18 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's a turn of Blackpool. If you are a Blackpool fan, the NFL team you should support is the Las Vegas Raiders. And again, this is one of my most lazy ones, along with my Sheffield United one, simply because Blackpool's known as the Vegas of the North. Now, you can compare both teams with their lack of success. I mean, since the 2000s, Raiders made 1 Super Bowl. Apart from that, it's been pretty bad, and they haven't even won a playoff game since that run to the Super Bowl where they lost to the Buccaneers. And Blackpool had 1 year in the Premier League, and that's it. And their time there was as short as the Raiders in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Episode 19 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's a turn of Crystal Palace. If you are a Palace fan, the NFL team you should support is the Seattle Seahawks. If you are a Palace fan, you will know that Selhurst Park generates one of the best atmospheres in the Premier League, and the fan base is seen as one of the loudest. And the same can be seen for the Seahawks. Lumen Field, or formerly CenturyLink Field, is seen as one of the best stadiums in the NFL and one of the loudest. From personal experience, I can certainly vouch for that, just how loud it is. And also, you've got the 12s in the Seahawks fan base, and they're very, very loud, just like the Palace fans at Selhurst Park. So if you're a Palace fan, wanting a team that also plays in a loud, vibrant stadium with brilliant fans, then the Seahawks are for you. Episode 20 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's a turn of Newcastle United. If you are a Newcastle fan, the NFL team you should support is the Buffalo Bills. It's rare to find many cities in the UK that have just one football team, and Newcastle is one of them. The fans live and breathe football. Lots of fans work all week to then go and watch Newcastle on the weekend, and if you want a team like that in the NFL, there's no more so than the Buffalo Bills. The people of Buffalo live and breathe their Bills. They, like Newcastle fans, are hardcore fans. It's by far the best fan base in the league. The tailgates are well known worldwide, the most famous tailgate you could probably think of in the NFL. But both teams have had their share of disappointment. Newcastle had the infamous Keegan rant, the 96 season collapse, where they let a 13-point lead slip, and the Bills did lose 4 Super Bowls in a row, including the infamous wide right from Scott Norwood. Both these teams have hardcore fan bases, been through a lot of turmoil, but overall, the fans always hope that one year their fortunes will turn around. Episode 21 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's a turn of Brentford. If you are a Brentford fan, the NFL team you should support is the Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams were largely irrelevant for the last 20 years. However, there's been an upturn in the fortunes of both teams in recent years. The Bengals drafted quarterback Joe Burrow back in 2020, and just 2 years later, they were playing in Super Bowl 56. Also in 2020, Brentford opened their brand new stadium, and their first season using that stadium, they earned promotion for the very first time to the Premier League. Both teams play exciting brands of football. However, both teams also are very leaky defensively. There we are, Brentford fans. If you want an NFL team to support, the Cincinnati Bengals are the team for you. Episode 22 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's a turn of my team, Liverpool Football Club. If you are a Liverpool fan, the NFL team you should support is the Green Bay Packers. First of all, Packers had Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback but only won one Super Bowl. Liverpool had Klopp as their manager and only won one Premier League title. However, moving on to more positive aspects of these comparisons, it's the iconic stadiums. Lambeau Field is seen by many as the most iconic stadium in the NFL, and Anfield has been known by many people to have the best atmosphere, or one of the best atmospheres in the Premier League. There's so much history with both these teams. You've got the 4-5 Super Bowls of the Green Bay Packers, you've got the 19 league titles of Liverpool, the 6 Champions League titles, the many FA Cups and League Cups. Both these teams are enriched with history. Both teams have such iconic venues, and this is why, if you are a Liverpool fan, you should support the Green Bay Packers. And I'm fully aware people will wonder why I'm saying this as a Liverpool fan, as a Dolphins fan in the NFL, but I did choose my team in the NFL before I even knew anything about NFL history. Episode 23 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's a turn of Ipswich Town. If you are a Ipswich Town fan, the NFL team you should support is the Indianapolis Colts. First of all, both teams play in blue, pretty much the same shade. And believe it or not, both these teams have won trophies. Ipswich won the First Division back in 1962 and won the FA Cup in 1978. And the Colts won the Super Bowl in the 2006 NFL season. Both teams are also on the up. Ipswich secured promotion back to the Premier League after over 20 years away, and the Colts have new life with quarterback Anthony Richardson, who despite the injuries did impress in his short time on the field in his rookie year in 2023. But the main reason for comparison and why, if you are a Ipswich Town fan, you should support the Colts, it's the horses. The Colts of course have a horseshoe in their logo, and Ipswich have a horse in their badge. Episode 24 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And the next team up is AFC Bournemouth. If you are a Bournemouth fan, the NFL team you should support is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Firstly, in the 21st century, Bournemouth have had 2 promotions to the Premier League, and the Buccaneers have won 2 Super Bowls. Now I realise this is a very different context of winning things, comparing winning 2 Super Bowls with just getting to the Premier League. But let's not forget, Bournemouth are a very, very small club and have, until Luton this season, had the smallest stadium in the Premier League. For Bournemouth, those promotions mean just as much to them as the Super Bowl win does to any Buccaneers fan. But of course, the main reason, both teams do play in red and black, and both Bournemouth and Tampa are known for their beaches. Episode 25 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. This time, it's a turn of Wigan Athletic. If you are a Wigan fan, the NFL team you should support is the New York Jets. Now, I'm fully aware that Wigan and New York are very, very different places to live. But for this team comparison, there's a very special reason as to why. Not that I'm a big fan of talking about any sort of Jet success. Now, Wigan fans, cast your minds back to the 2013 FA Cup final as you were about to take on Manchester City. Did any of you think you were going to win that game? I doubt many of you. Whether you're the biggest die-hard Wigan fan or whether you're just a general football fan, I doubt anyone would have had a Wigan win in this final. But they did. They beat Wigan 1-0 in the last minute thanks to a Ben Watson goal. This was a true David and Goliath story. And if you're wanting a team with a similar story, this is why you should support the New York Jets. Now let's rewind even further back from 2013 to the 1968 NFL season when the Jets took on the then Baltimore Colts. This was just the 3rd ever Super Bowl in history, known as Super Bowl III. This is seen by many as the game that changed the landscape of the NFL to how we see it today. The Jets were massive underdogs with a brand new conference in the American Football Conference. This was seen as a chance for the AFC to state their claim and say, we are here in the NFL landscape. Joe Namath, quarterback for the Jets, called the win prior to this game, lying on his sun lounger, predicting they would beat and shock the Colts, and that's exactly what they did. So Wigan fans, if you are watching this video, the Jets have a very similar David and Goliath story to you, and that is why you picked the Jets. Episode 26 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's a turn of Leicester City. If you are a Leicester fan, the NFL team you should support is the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, we all know Leicester's biggest achievement, winning the Premier League in 2015-16, despite being 5,000 to 1 to win it at the start of the year. And if you are searching for an NFL team with a similar underdog story, then this team is the Eagles. Even when Leicester were top of the league in December, in January, in February, people had a lot of doubts as to whether they would actually go on and do it. And there was the same thing when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in the 2017 season. They had the MVP favourite in Carson Wentz, but then he went down before the season ended, meaning that they went to their game in the divisional round as the 1 seed, as the underdog in that game. That meant that backup Nick Foles got the job done and had an amazing run that season with them, and they had the underdog mentality throughout the whole season, and they went on and beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota in an amazing game. For me, the best I've ever seen Super Bowl wise. Had the Philly special, iconic moment, and they ended up defeating the big enemy, the dynasty at the time, the New England Patriots, in a real underdog story. Episode 27 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And today's a bit different. I'm giving you 2 football teams, and these teams are Swansea City and Wrexham. If you are a Wrexham or Swansea fan, you'll no doubt be a proud Welshman. As a Welshman myself, I know we are very proud of our mountain. So if you want an NFL team to support, you could go down the route of a team who plays in an area which is most like Wales. And which place is well known for mountains in America? That is Denver and the Denver Broncos. Denver, of course, like Wrexham, have got a new bit of ownership from a big name star. Of course, Wrexham well known to have McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, and Broncos have now got Lewis Hamilton as part owner of the team. Now, of course, very different in terms of comparing how successful they've been as teams, because the Broncos have won multiple Super Bowls. Wrexham are doing well now, but they were down low for years and years, and Swansea had their time in the Premier League. But I think we're past the point now with running out of teams. We can't always base it on success on the field or on the pitch. But if you are Welsh and you support Swansea or Wrexham and you want a place that's most like Wales, then make sure you pick Denver Broncos because of the Colorado Mountains. Episode 28 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And no, it's not Bayern Munich, but it is a team that play in similar colours, as today's team is Southampton. If you are from Southampton, you will know that the area is well known for their ports. So if you're choosing an NFL team, why not choose a team from an area which also is well known for their ports? That is why, if you are a Southampton fan, your NFL team you should choose is the Baltimore Ravens. I could have easily gone for MK Dons with Baltimore Ravens. We all know why, but no, Baltimore is well known for their port. So if you are from the area of Southampton and you're a Southampton fan, then you should go for a team that plays in an area which is very similar to where you live. There's also a lot of excitement around both teams. Southampton are back in the Premier League after just a year away, and the Ravens have the reigning and 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson at quarterback. They've just added Derrick Henry, and there's a lot of expectation, a lot of hope that this team can go one further and win the AFC Championship and even win the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Episode 29 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this episode is all about Sunderland, one that was highly requested by you guys. So, if you are a Sunderland fan, the NFL team you should support is the Atlanta Falcons. Sadly, there are quite a few negative reasons why you should support the Falcons if you are a Sunderland fan. First of all, you both have moments you want to forget. Of course, you will remember as Sunderland fans your back-to-back relegations, which were as well documented on a Netflix documentary. The Falcons, they were 28-3 up in Super Bowl 51 against the Patriots in the third quarter, but let that lead slip, took the game to overtime and lost it to the Patriots. Both teams will want to forget these moments. Also, both teams are overshadowed in the places they reside to other teams. So, for example, in the Northeast, Sunderland are overshadowed by Newcastle, and the Atlanta Falcons are overshadowed by another team in their state, the Georgia Bulldogs, their college football team, which has done very well in recent years. Yes, there's a lot of negatives between both teams, but both these teams have great fan bases, one that stick to their team no matter what. Both teams have hope and they live on that. but they know probably deep down that they may be a while before they see any real sort of success. And also both teams play in red. Episode 30 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. We are now down the final stretch of these comparisons. And this episode is all about Norwich City. Norwich as a city is known for its culture, its arts, its tourism, its nightlife, and they call it a blend between present and past day. Now, if you're wanting to NFL team to support for a place that reminds you of Norwich, what place is known for that in America? It is New Orleans, home of the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans is very well known for its nightlife. I myself have been out on Halloween. It was absolutely crazy. You got Mardi Gras there, you got the French Quarter, and there's a lot of historical parts to the city, and there's a lot of comparisons between the two, a lot of art as well. Both teams have similar sort of really lack of success, and New Orleans were for a while the Saints were a really, really bad team until Drew Brees came along. And Norwich have been back and forth from the Premier League to the Championship for a long, long time. But yeah, Norwich fans, especially if you're from the area, if you want an NFL team to support, then New Orleans is basically the Norwich of America. Episode 31 out of 32 of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time it's a turn of West Ham United. If you are a West Ham fan, the NFL team you should support is the New York Giants. If West Ham is your local team, then you are from London, and New York is basically London. So if you like the London lifestyle, then New York will be just the same as that. Both teams play in very desirable areas to both live and travel. And both teams have won silverware. West Ham have won 3 FA Cups in the past and the Europa Conference League in recent years, and the Giants have won 4 Super Bowls. Both teams have success to their name, but both teams also have a lot of years of poor performances and poor results. Episode 32 out of 32, the final episode of telling you which NFL team you should support based on your football team. And this time, it's the turn of AFC Wimbledon. For those that have followed these videos on my channel regularly, you'll know there's only one team in the NFL we haven't yet covered. So if you are a AFC Wimbledon fan, the NFL team you should support is Cleveland Browns. If you follow both sports, you'll know full well why I'm making this comparison. The Browns were once the Baltimore Ravens, and AFC Wimbledon were once Wimbledon, who got moved to MK Dons, and the Browns did get moved to Baltimore. So both these teams have had similar stories of owners taking their team away, but both teams have since got their teams back. The Cleveland Browns, within 2 years, were back, whereas Wimbledon had a bit more longer to wait, but they managed to eventually work their way up back in the Football League and eventually got to go in the same league as MK Dons and even beating them. And of course the Browns are in the same division as the Ravens. Both Wimbledon and Browns are storied teams. The Browns won 4 NFL championships just before the Super Bowl era began, and Wimbledon did famously win an FA Cup against Liverpool with the infamous Crazy Gang. If you are a Wimbledon fan, the Browns are the team for you. They know what it's like to have their team moved from the place they love, but ultimately the teams are back.